Alright, hello, I'm Evan Dion, and I'm presenting on sustainability in small businesses. And I first fostered an interest for this when I was in 6th grade, and I was in an ecology class. And each kid, we got an energy saving kit as part of the class. It had like a compact fluorescent light bulb, a low flow shower head, a way to test if your house did have low flow shower heads. And part of them was they had these little blue tablets that you put into the top of your toilet to see if your toilet's leaking into the bowl. And I was like so excited to go and put these blue things in my toilet. But unfortunately, like all my toilets were fine, they weren't leaking. We already had low flow shower heads, so I didn't have to switch anything. So I was kind of bummed, but still, it still made me interested to see like what more could I do to like help out a building and make it more sustainable.
Jambo, in Swahili that means hello. My name is Ben Stone, and I'm going to be doing my senior project on integrating Maasai culture with the modern world.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Cooper, for those of you who don't know. And before I go into my presentation, I would like to ask a few questions. Who in this room associates Colombia with its beautiful beaches, coffee, soccer, oil, and drugs?
We did 2 tests on the building, the first of which is called the blower door test. And the setup for this is Michael had an expandable door frame that we fit to the door of the main entrance. And we covered this with this windproof cloth, and then we attached a fan to it to depressurize the building, to exaggerate the leaks, the air leakage in the building. So we're testing the building envelope. And we found that there's the equivalent of a 7.3 square foot hole being open in our building at all times, and this is adding up all the little cracks in our building, which is kind of like not having a window. The second test we did is called the duct blaster test. And a duct is what transport your heat to the grill where your heat comes out of, and they just look like this. This is what we have in the counter there above the boys' dorm. In the duct blaster test, it's very similar to the blower door test, in that we're depressurizing the duct system to find out how much leaks are in the duct.
So my senior project topic is Nordic ski nutrition, and for those of you that don't know, my name is Austin May. And when I was first thinking about doing the topic, I was at a training camp in Park City, Utah, and at this training camp, the U.S. ski team nutritionist was giving us a lecture on nutrition. And at that time, I really noticed, how important nutrition is, and I thought to myself, wow, if I can really master this nutrition, then I could become a much better Nordic skier.
It all happened once upon a time during the first formal dinner. I was talking with Ms. Knox about senior project ideas, and she suggested that I do something with theater. So after a lot of research and a lot of hard work with paper writing, mentor meetings, etc., I now feel like I'm ready to do my victory lap to hear the dining
I
hall.
chose this topic. A lot of people ask me, Carrie, why violent women? Why would you choose a topic? When I was in middle school, I started wondering, why are people violent? Because I had never really been violent. So at the beginning of this year, I remembered that time, and I decided to investigate more into violence. And it started with just violent people and why people are violent. And then it segued into violent women.
So throughout my ski racing career, I've been attending some NDS camps. And at these National Development System camps, there's always somebody there telling you what to eat and that you need to hydrate, but they really never tell you why or how it will affect you. So that's really why I wanted to look into this. So the essential question that I try to answer this entire year is, what is the optimal nutrition plan for alpine ski racers? So today I'm going to take you through how I came up with my answer. I'm going to go over the 6 essential nutrients, the classification of alpine ski racers, and how high altitudes affect them. I'm going to go over proper nutrition before, during, and after your racing, training, and conditioning. And then finally, I'll get to my essential answer.
I decided to look into the drug trade and politics in Colombia because I wanted to study government and politics, but I wanted to look at something outside of the United States. I decided to look into Colombian politics because they were particularly interesting due to their very intimate relationship with the drug trade. And also, I'd seen Hollywood interpretations in movies like Blow. I'd heard stories in the news, but I actually really didn't know anything about Colombia.
For my senior project product, I did a ski-a-thon fundraiser, and this benefited Free the Children. We were able to support school supplies. We were able to buy school supplies, and it was held on April 16th, 2011, at Sugar Bowl Resort, and over $2,000 were raised.
So now that we've been talking about Mark Engel and the U.S. ski team, I thought you guys might want to know what the U.S. ski team is doing. So in the last few years, they've hired a guy named Adam Korzoon. He's actually Austin's secondary mentor, as I recently found out. He has pretty much all the credentials you need in this sport to do what he does. And he's also the chef at the Center of Excellence. So what he does is he cooks meals for all the athletes so that they can get proper nutrition when they're training there and road racing. And they also have a mobile kitchen in Europe that they tried out last year, where he traveled with the World Cup team and cooked foods for them so that they knew when to properly intake all those nutrients. So one really cool quote I got from him was, "We really encourage the timing of their eating, so they're getting the right nutrients as soon as possible, so they're recovering properly and getting enough fuel for the next training."
I say use proper nutrition because we want more posters that look like this. I think if you guys can learn to use nutrition like I have, you can definitely place higher in races.
Full of vexation come I, with complaint against my child, my daughter, Hermia. Stand forth, Demetrius. My noble lord, this man hath my consent to marry her. Stand forth, Lysander. And my gracious duke, this man hath bewitched the bosom of my child. Now, thou,
So
Lysander.
if I had more time, I would look into how mental illnesses play into murders. Now during my second presentation, I was asked, do you know if bipolar or schizophrenia plays into if a woman murders or not? And I didn't know, so that's what I want to look into next. Also, I would like to look into, there were a couple pardons of murders because the women had battered women syndrome, and I would like to look into those as
A
well.
few thank yous. First, I'd like to thank my parents because they took me to Home Depot to buy all the appliances. They also worked with me that day and helped out. I'd like to thank Ambrose because he also came into work on a Saturday to help me fix the building. And we also met over 20 times this year. I'd like to thank Joanne for working too hard and reading all her papers like 8 times. And finally, I'd like to thank Tracy for not letting me make techno music for my senior project.